Hey, what's good, everybody? It's me, your hero, Benjamin Banks, and you are watching Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. And joining me, as always, are my co-hosts from the Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks podcast, Trav, the Trash Man Martin, and Rebellious D. How you fellas doing today?
I'm here.
Ready to rock.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I love to hear that. And today we have a special guest joining us. It is voice actor John Swasey. How are you doing today, John?
I'm great, man. Thank
Hey.
you.
Hey, you're welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate having you here on the Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks podcast. So before we get into today's interview, everybody that's watching, make sure that you like this video, you subscribe to the channel, and you hit that bell button so that way you're always notified when we have new content here on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. And as D always says,
as always, podcast in the description. Like, follow, subscribe to the channel, and thank you for watching.
all right, so yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. So again, John, like I said, thank you so much for joining us up here. I don't know if Trav and D know this, but I met John at the Superstar Anime Convention in Virginia Beach. And, usually something that we always do up here on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks, and we joke about this all the time, is we always slide in people's DMs and they either say yes, no, or they don't say anything to us at all. But when I saw that John was going to be here in Virginia, I was just like, you know what? It's time to handle business. And I went up there. And John, he was such a nice guy. I took a picture with him and I asked him, hey, do you want to come on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks? And he was just like, hell yeah, like your boy Stone Cold. So, John, thank you so much again for joining us. And, one thing that we do up here on the Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks podcast is we ask all of our guests, what is your origin story? Every hero or villain has one. So tell everybody who John Swasey is.
Well, I was conceived by Alan and Patsy Swasey in 1964.
Yes.
I like it.
The ultimate origin.
Yes.
But as far as like, are you talking about as me as a voice actor or All for One in particular or?
All for One.
Well, not. I mean, yeah, we're gonna get to the All for One stuff later on, but
not literally.
Oh, I had to make
Not
sure.
literally. No, I was like,
Yeah. So I was an actor, or I am an actor, I guess. Not was, but I was acting here in Houston in 1995, 96, and I was doing commercials and doing film and doing television in Houston, and 1997, somebody said, you ought to do this thing called anime. And I was like, what's anime? And they're like, well, it's Japanese animation. I'm like, well, dude, I don't speak Japanese, so that's out, And they said, no, idiot, we dub it into English. I was like, oh, okay, well, I can do that. So I started working with this company in Houston called ADV Films.
I remember ADV.
And they're now called Sentai Filmworks.
All right.
But they became very quickly the number one producer of anime in North America. Of dubbed and subbed anime,
Right.
And then Funimation started up in Dallas and I started working for them. And 25 years later, man, here we are. I was just at a meeting with a guy, and his son is a film student at NYU. And he was going, oh, dude, my son totally knows who you are. I was like, what? He goes, oh, yeah. I mean, so to see how anime has gone from this just super, super niche world to what it is today is mind-boggling. And I, get down on my knees every day and thank the good Lord that this is what it is. So today I work now at Sentai Filmworks as a director and a voice actor. I still do a lot of work for Funimation, of course. But anime consumes my entire world of acting. And it didn't used to do that. It was, it was a side hustle. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was something I did. If it brought in $200 or $300 a week, I was like, amazed.
Yeah.
And now it's like, it not only brings in more than that, it with conventions and stuff, it's just like, oh my gosh, this is unbelievable. You know, it's a very humbling thing, but I'm very, very grateful for it, and I love it.
Mm-hmm. Now, to piggyback off of what you had just mentioned about conventions, you started your own convention in Texas called Anime Dallas Con. And like how you had said, when it comes to conventions, there's a lot of money in it. The fandom is there. And, you know, when we were coming up, you know, like there really wasn't a lot of conventions around. You know what I'm saying? It's like the only conventions that we really knew of were San Diego Comic-Con. Like when I was a kid, that was the only one that I knew of. And my mom, she wasn't sending me all the way to San Diego to go to a con. And even here in Virginia, like Superstar Anime Convention, like that one has only been around since 2019. But, you know, here in the area, like there really weren't a lot of conventions. We had NecoCon. That one's been here for a while, but, you know, coming up, like there wasn't a lot of conventions. And, you know, luckily now there's so many conventions here in our area. Like there's so many conventions like all over the world that people can go to and just have a fun and good time and just geek out. But yeah, like what was the process of, you know, creating your own convention?
So first of all, you see what my shirt says?
Mm-hmm.
Can you dead, I believe, right?
Dead.
Dead.
This is the shirt that the Grateful Dead used in their trip to Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a huge Deadhead.
Hey.
And one of the things that I love about the Grateful Dead is that when you go to a Grateful Dead show, everybody is there for one reason: to have a good time, to love each other, respect each other, support each other, lift each other up, and just enjoy the music, enjoy the band. Mm-hmm. I think anime conventions are very similar to that. Everyone is there for the same reason: to go have a good time, lift each other up, support each other, and enjoy this thing called anime. Mm-hmm. When I started doing this in 97, there might be one or two conventions a month somewhere. Mm-hmm. Now there's 6 and 7 a week.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Filled, not with 50 kids, 5,000 kids.
Yep.
You know, 20,000 kids. So I really enjoy going to conventions. In fact, this year, because once the pandemic sort of lightened up a little bit, to date, in the last 15 weeks, I've done 13 conventions.
Crazy.
Wow. And it's exhausting, but I love it. Right. And to see these people, and I say kids, I mean, shoot, I'm getting people coming up to me going, you know, I grew up watching you as Lord Death and Soul Eater. Mm-hmm. Now my kid, and I'm like, what?
Awesome, man.
Crazy. But a few years ago, I decided, I met with somebody and I said, hey, we ought to do our own convention. And so I put on Anime Dallas. So we've done it for 3 years. We also, this past August this year, did Anime Houston.
Nice.
And, you know, we were expecting about 1,400 people. We had 4,500.
Wow.
Yeah, hey, congrats on that.
But you know, those aren't even the big shows, you know?
Right.
I just did a show in Denver, 20 NDK. Great show. Mm-hmm. Great show. 20-something thousand people. Mm. And to see that this community is growing, expanding, it just warms my heart, man. I love it. My son's into it, you know. I think that one of the reasons that we're experiencing this is because there's a lot of crossover. So like if you go to an anime convention, you're going to see cosplay of Darth Vader, Stormtroopers, Spider-Man, Captain America, etc. And so I think there's just all this crossover that's making it like, and this really cool thing, and it is, obviously some of it is really for certain people, you know what I mean? But overall, it's like, no, this is a really cool genre, and it's crazy. It's to see what it's become is unbelievable. But I love the fact that I put these shows on, and I'm very proud of them. I think we do a very great job, and I've got a great team that I use, and we're one of the things that I really, really, really dig about anime conventions in particular is that in this community, we have a very diverse group of folks, right? I mean, you've got normal people. Actually, that's not the right word. But you've got your everyday Joe.
Yeah. You got the casual fans.
I thought he was going to say humans.
You've got the geeks and the nerds, but you've also got every letter on the LGBT spectrum. And you've got a lot of people that are struggling with suicide, with whatever they might be struggling with. Their safe place is the anime space. And I love that. I love that because, I'm not ashamed to say it. I'm a Christian, and I will tell you that the most fundamental thing about being a Christian to me is that you love people because they are people. They need to be loved. That's pure and simple. Doesn't matter if you agree, disagree with them, with their lifestyle or anything. That's irrelevant. What's important is that you love them and respect them because they are a human being. And you see that at anime conventions. And I just love that. Love that. So that's kind of what inspired me to want to put some on.
Yeah, I love that. I know I can't remember if it was either Bo Billingsley or it was Kyle Hebert who had told us, but one of the things that they love about anime conventions is the people that they meet. And I can't remember which one it was, but they had said that there was this one scenario where a fan had came up to them and had told them that they were in a dark place, and they started watching the anime that they were doing voiceover work in. And like that anime, it really helped them get through that dark period that they were in. And they just wanted to say thank you. And it's just amazing how, like how you were saying, it's just like at the end of the day, it's like we're all people, and it brings us all together. And like there's so many different categories of anime out there for everyone. And you can just watch something and it can help motivate you. Like one of my favorite animes today is My Hero Academia. And when I started my weight loss journey back in 2018, it's like, I already had the mindset that I wanted to lose weight, but just seeing how motivating this anime was and like seeing all of the different characters, it's what really pushed me to getting to where I needed to be in my fitness journey. And that's just one of the things that I love about anime, is that it's something out there for everybody. And I just feel like everybody that does voiceover work, and I'm grateful that we have the opportunity to talk to you and talk to some of the other voice actors and actresses that we've talked to. Like, it's just been an amazing ride, and I appreciate everything that you guys do.
That's very kind of you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Indeed. I will say this: if it weren't for people like you, the fans, we would just look like a bunch of idiots in a booth. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
Well, you're welcome.
Hey, thank you. We appreciate it. Also too, I want to piggyback off of something that you had said early on in the interview, because like I had mentioned before, when we had Bo Billingsley up here, he had a similar story where you had said that when you first heard about anime and speaking Japanese, he said the exact same thing. He was like, I don't know Japanese. Like, what is anime? So it's crazy how back in the 90s, anime was slowly coming over here to the States. And, we heard these stories of how it was different getting into it back then compared to how it is now, because most of the people that are in the voice acting community now are people like us who grew up watching anime,
right?
And it's just like we were fans of watching this stuff, and you just see so many people that want to get into voice acting. I feel like, now, would you say that getting into voice acting is a lot easier today than it was back then?
Well, yes and no. It's so with the internet the way it is, think of it in terms like this. Let's say you're in a band, okay? And 20 years ago, you were like, I'm going to play live concerts, I'm going to play this, I'm going to play that. But my ultimate goal is to get a record deal with a company. That's where you made it, right? When you got a record deal. And then the internet came out and streaming came out. And suddenly it was like, you know what? You no longer need the record deal because you can produce something on your own and put it out yourself.
Right.
But so can everybody else. So with regards to voice acting, I think what I've seen is that when I started doing this, there weren't a lot of people doing it. And which is why people like myself, Lucy Christian, Monica Rial, we're credited with doing more roles than anybody else in North America because there weren't that many people doing it. I mean, Chris Sabat, superstar. I mean, probably the biggest anime star there is. But he was doing tons of voices. I mean, he did, Dragon Ball Z, and he did what's his name?
Vegeta,
Piccolo, Yamcha.
But he did
several characters.
Probably did 15 characters in that show. So it's but now you see there's so many people wanting to get into voiceover. And when I started doing voiceover in general, I was doing voiceover to do commercials and narrations and things like that. Now everybody wants to do anime. I'm like, really? But now I understand. The other thing too is I think a lot of people see they go to conventions and they see anime voice actors and they think, oh man, they're like huge stars and this stuff, and that's what they want to do. And of course, to me, the problem with that is if that's why you're getting into this, you're doing it for the wrong reason. You need to get into voice acting because you love to voice act, even if you never do a convention in your life. If you like doing this, you need to do this because this is what you want to do. And, I was talking to Lucy Christian today. I had her, had her in the booth today, and I was talking to her about this. And we were talking about conventions and how much they've changed over the years. And, we would have never dreamed this is what we'd be doing on our weekends, but here we are. And, there's a certain level of respect and, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but, we've been doing this a long time. And, when people go, well, I want to do that so I can be at a convention. It's like, well, it took us 20 years to get here.
Yeah.
So you need to put your priorities where they are. And if you want to be a voice actor, then be a voice actor. The convention scene is just the gravy. That's not what voice actors all about. And there's some people that, might land a certain role that's huge and they get vaulted into, the convention scene. But if for the most part, it's like, this is something that takes time. You have to focus on your career as a voice actor, first. Then the other stuff will come. So
yeah, I 100% agree with you on that. Because I'm a professional wrestler, and I know that there are some guys that kind of like how you were just saying, where it's like they get into it and they think that, oh, I'm going to be at the conventions or I'm going to be doing this. It's like there's guys that, start in the business and they automatically think that they're going to go straight to WWE, and they've only been wrestling for a few months. And it's like how you said, it's just like, if you really want to get into something, you should do it because you love it. I feel like, too many people, it's like they come in with high expectations, and then when they don't meet those expectations, they become bitter. They, they start talking, trash about other people and stuff like that, because they're not at where they think that they should be at. And then they see other people are getting these roles and whatnot, or,
I see that all the time. I see that all the time. And I'm like, really? That's it just, this is what acting in general is. You audition for something, you don't get everything. In fact, you get, it was explained to me, and this is before anime, but just in general, if you're auditioning, if you get 1 out of 10 roles you audition for,
right,
you're doing very well. 1 out of 10. That's,
hey, we've even heard 1 out of 100 on here before. So
that's worse than baseball. If you're batting 10% or 100, forget it.
Forget about it.
Is now the difference is one of those roles could be Deku,
right?
So you never know when you're going to hit that home run.
Right.
But that's why you always keep grinding.
But that's, the thing about acting to me has always been this. This is how I've always looked at acting. I'm banging my head against a wall. And I never want to give up, because all it was going to take was one more and the wall down.
Right.
And I have to believe that.
I like that.
Even though that wall comes down and there's another wall on the other side of it. But you keep doing it. You keep doing it. You keep doing it, because you just never know. And if you don't do it, acting is the epitome of, if you don't try it, it won't work. You know what I mean? That it's just, and it's tough. It's very hard, because it's wrought and filled with rejection and people telling you, dude, your beard's too scraggly. You wear glasses. You're too fat. You're too short. You're too tall. You're too thin. You're too white. You're too black. All these reasons that we don't get a job, any one of which, if we were in the corporate world, we could sue and be retired.
Right.
Yep. And,
but this is the lot we've chosen, and this is what we got to do,
Absolutely. And you're one of the OGs in this. I just remember.
What does OG mean?
Original gangster?
Well, it originally was original gangster, but nowadays I feel like OG just means like just original. One of the first.
You're a throwback.
Okay.
People to do it.
That was a compliment.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a hell of a compliment.
For sure.
Because when you said OG, I was like thinking, is that like a goat? Like you're an old goat?
Hey, well, they do call some people.
That's a compliment too, though. Nowadays,
that is a compliment.
Sure. All right, fair enough.
Hey, we all know when we say something's bad, we mean it's actually good.
Right.
Right. No, that's only Trav. But
no, you'd be like, dang, that's bad.
I've never said, yeah, that's bad, man. Nah.
Well, yeah, that's because you rate everything a 9 out of 10. So what's it called?
I can't help that I love everything, man.
Yeah, but
we know.
But no, just going back, just being a kid, and really first started getting into anime and stuff like that, and just seeing, the progression that it's made. Like, as fans, we know how big it's gotten because we've been there since it first came over to the States. But as one of like the original actors who were doing big projects that were on HBO and on Cartoon Network and those late night anime shows, you know, you've seen how it's grown from that little niche thing to, like you said, seven conventions a week, you know, and it don't stop. It's a huge billion-dollar industry now, and it wasn't that when, you know, I was 10 years old.
No, I mean, when Sony buys Funimation and Crunchyroll,
right?
I mean, come on now,
for billions.
You know what they're doing? They don't have Marvel, they don't have Star Wars,
right?
Yeah,
but now they've got anime,
exactly. Mm-hmm.
And gotta fight fire with fire.
I mean, I guarantee you, anime is just going to get bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's not going to. We have not hit our peak by a long shot.
Oh yeah, no.
Well, one thing I want to touch on real quick is the fact, something that you mentioned earlier, John, in the conversation, is that how it's just growing and growing. And one thing that I point out a lot to Banks or Trav is that there's actual genres to it now. It's not just action. And I think that's a sign that it's thriving as an industry, because now you have your romance, you have your comedies, and it's just so diverse now. I think it's amazing just to watch it.
When people ask me, you know, what is anime? I tell them, well, it's Japanese animation, and it's everything from Hello Kitty to Hello Kitty. And everything between. I mean, it's, you know, there's mech shows, and there's teenage angst shows.
Sports.
You know,
sports for sure.
I mean, it's crazy. You know, it's crazy. Food shows.
Yeah, man. And it's funny you say mech, because I wanted to bring up Neon Genesis, and how crazy is it that, you know, being in the original Neon Genesis and now a little over 20 years later, you know, he finally wraps up this series and you come back to play your role. And I just remember being a kid. All of us are in the mech anime, you know what I mean? We love that stuff. So, and it's finally over. How's that feel? Do you have any attachment to that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I took over the role of Gendo from an actor named Tristan McCavery, who was the original Gendo. And I took it over, and then I did it. I've done Gendo longer than anyone else. I mean, you know. But then there's also the Netflix version that has Ray Chase,
right,
and Gendo. But to be able to come in and do these movies for Amazon, to redub the first three and then to do a fourth new one, it was so nice to have that completion. You know, I mean, it's such an iconic series, and to be a part of it, number one, was very, you know, humbling. But I just love it. I mean, Evangelion, there are colleges that have curriculum about Evangelion.
For sure.
I never knew that.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, it's that iconic. And to be a part of that is just so awesome. But I really enjoyed the fact that we were able to kind of wrap it up, you know.
I agree.
I mean, frankly, I would have loved to do 3 more movies, then wrap it up. But that's just me as an actor. But you love to see something make its final move and, you know, kind of come to fruition, come to completion. Yep.
Yeah.
And it was a very emotional experience for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah, most great endings. You know, whenever it's I'm sure it's gratifying at some degree, you know, to see things like you said come to an end and you wrap up something. It's just like any project, really. It's just stepping back away from it and realizing that you're finished. You know, that's what you kind of want to some degree.
I want One Piece to wrap up, but
it keeps killing you. It keeps.
Okay, so that's a great point. That's a great point. TV shows, whether they're in America or Japan or whatever, it's a conundrum because it's like our show's successful.
Mm-hmm.
Why would we stop?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I like that answer.
But there also is the chance you're just gonna. Are y'all familiar with the phrase "jump the shark"?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
yep.
The Fonz. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you're like, you've jumped the shark. I mean, then what's the point?
Yeah,
what made Breaking Bad so great?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's why we don't talk about Walking Dead anymore.
Yeah, well, I was about to bring up the Walking Dead.
But yeah, that's what makes, like you said, Breaking Bad is one of the top 5 greatest television shows. Sopranos, The Wire. They knew their run, they told their story, and they wrote off.
Yeah, and that's it. That's how you're supposed to do it.
I will tell you another good. It's not that level of intensity, but watch the show Episodes.
Oh, that's the name of the show, Episodes.
It's Episodes.
Okay.
I might look at it right now.
I think it's by David Crane, who did Friends.
Okay.
And it's very funny. It's about it's a great commentary. It's about a British TV writing team that writes a brilliant show in England, and America comes and poaches it.
Oh, The Office.
And The Office.
The Office, yeah.
What's the other one with what's his name? Oh shit. What's his name? The South Side of Chicago.
I don't know.
Yeah, you do.
What channel did it come on?
It was on great question. What is the show? Come on.
And it took place in Chicago?
It's they're the horrible family.
Married with Children.
No. Shameless. Right.
Shameless.
I mean, but Married with Children took place in Chicago, and the family.
Yeah, but that didn't come from me.
But it wasn't a British show.
Yeah.
But Shameless was.
Right.
Okay.
But anyway, they bring this show over to America. They completely ruin it. Matt LeBlanc is in it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But he plays Matt LeBlanc.
Right. Okay.
And
I love stuff like that.
But it has an ending. It has it's a completion, and I love that. I don't need a show that just goes on forever and ever, because
I agree.
It's intriguing for a while because you never know. Like, they took a left turn instead of a right turn. Where's it gonna go?
Right.
But after a while, you're like, okay, where is this gonna go? Because I'm getting, So anyway, check it out. But that's what I loved about Breaking Bad and whatnot. But with regards to Evangelion, it was just nice to see it all come together. Just like it was nice to see Fullmetal Alchemist.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then,
Brotherhood's so top 5 for me.
Yeah.
Such a great story.
Thank you.
Yep.
I mean, I didn't create it, but thank you.
Yeah, but I love your character, though.
Oh, yeah. Hohenheim?
I love Hohenheim and that whole dynamic that you didn't get in the original Fullmetal.
Of course. Yeah, because the
Alchemist.
original was it was its own thing, whereas Brotherhood was based off of the manga. And yeah, like Brotherhood, like you said, it's definitely in the top 10 when it comes to anime.
I love how we get in the tour right now.
I feel like we're about to see something special.
Kitchen right here. This is my kitchen.
John,
you get to see the great kitchen.
Hey, I thought John was about to show us like a giant Hohenheim statue.
Just a cutout right by his bed that he sleeps with every night.
Yeah, nice. My wife makes me look like Hohenheim. Go to bed.
Something that I wanted to touch on that you had said about like shows going on forever and not wrapping up. I remember Hugh Jackman when he was playing Wolverine.
Mhm.
He said that he had a conversation with Jerry Seinfeld, and Jerry Seinfeld. Oh, what's that right there?
This is
Something real good.
This is called Bullet, but it's got my, whenever you see it, Swain Z. That's our family brand.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Sick.
nice.
Hey, thanks for pouring us a cup.
Yeah.
Hey, I know everybody that's listening, y'all can't see this, but like it literally looks like that John was just like, "Hey, here you guys go."
Uh-huh.
But yeah, like I was saying, like Hugh Jackman said that Jerry Seinfeld had mentioned they wrapped up Seinfeld because it's just like you don't want something to continue going on and to the point that people end up getting bored with it. It's better to go out on top instead of letting something like beating a dead horse. And that was the thing with Hugh Jackman playing Wolverine, because he had been playing it for what, like 10 years? I want to say
it was a long
more
time.
than that. The first one came out in 2000.
Oh, okay, so he had been playing it for like quite a while, and
Logan was 2017.
Yeah,
I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right.
So a long time, dude.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Then he was in what was it? Apocalypse, right?
He made a cameo.
He made a cameo in that. So, but like that was like his last role as Wolverine. But yeah, I mean, it's just like sometimes it's best to just end things when
it's not going anywhere. Yeah,
but not when it's not going anywhere. But it's just like what else could you have done with the character?
With that character, right?
Yeah, with that character.
Robert Downey Jr. with Iron Man, same way.
Mm-hmm.
That was a better situation though.
Yeah,
like the thing with Robert Downey is it ran. He do that. He did that for less years than Hugh Jackman was Wolverine. Clearly,
yeah, he was Iron Man for 10 years.
Yeah, and it was just better. I'm sorry, it's a better story.
John, something I wanted to ask you, because I know you had mentioned Hohenheim, and then you had mentioned your character from Evangelion. Now you took over the role as Dodoria on Dragon Ball Z, and I know when we interviewed Linda Young, because she originally voiced Frieza, and she had told us when we interviewed her that the reason why they had went with somebody else was because they wanted Frieza to be voiced by Man, because that's who he was voiced by in Japan. So how was it taking over the role of Dodoria on Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Z Kai? Like, did the original actor, did he not want to return for that role, or were they just trying to go in a different direction with the show overall?
Who was the original actor?
Let me look him up real quick.
I don't even know. I don't. I'm sorry. I don't know that. I know the story of Linda Young, and they wanted to go with I, and they went with Chris Ayers and all that, but I didn't know who was the original Dodoria.
I'm looking them up right now.
And that one thing I do want to say real quick while he's looking that up, it's impressive how many voice actors and actresses when like we're just talking and you're just rattling off people. It just seems like you don't forget anybody. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I've been doing this for 25 something years, and most of the voice actors I've worked with are actors that have been acting for 30 or something years. So, I mean, we all know each other, we know, I mean, it's funny. But we're like the old guard. I mean, they're the new actors that don't
like
know.
That.
We're
you're the OG, like Trav.
The OG, man. We're the old goats.
And that's right. Chris Forbes was the original voice actor of Dodoria.
Oh, I have no idea why that was recast. Maybe Chris decided he didn't want to do voiceover anymore. I don't know.
Right.
But it's funny. I'm like, y'all know the show Bewitched?
Oh yeah.
So Dick York was the original Darren.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Dick Sargent took over the role of Darren when Dick York became too ill to do the role. Mm-hmm. I'm like the Dick Sargent of anime. I like that. I mean, I'm not the original Gendo. I'm not the original Hohenheim.
Right.
It's funny. I am the original Crocodile, and I'm the original All for One.
Right.
But it's just funny that I'm not even the original in One Piece. I play another guy named Gandalf.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the original that guy.
Okay. Wow.
He died.
Oh, wow.
And they needed somebody to come in. It was like, all right. So it's funny when I replace people, you know. But I will say this. I'd like to touch on this for a minute. You know, sometimes actors get a lot of hate for replacing another actor. I've never gotten it, but I know some actors have. And I worked on a show recently, which I hope you all will check out, called Vinland Saga.
Yes, it's very good.
I heard about that.
And we dubbed it. I directed it. I'm in it, but I helped co-direct it with Kyle Jones, my best friends, and he's a great director. But people go, well, you know, why did you all do that? Like, well, we were asked to. I mean, you know. And I'm working on a show right now called Kaikagururi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's on Netflix, correct?
Correct.
It's already dubbed.
Right.
Okay, yeah, I have that on my list of things to watch.
And it's a great show. It's a great show. And the people that did it on Netflix did a great job.
Right.
But because of licensing issues, Sentai is doing the home video version.
Okay.
So it's not an issue of why did you do that? Why did you take that role away from them? Or why did you just like, guys, the actors are like pawns.
Right.
We get caught up in, hey, there's a licensing issue, and we have no control over that.
Yep.
Netflix or whoever it might be didn't want to play ball.
Yep.
So the company that owns the projects will redub it.
You know,
it's
John.
Usually financial issue. But I'll get to your question one second.
Yeah, go for it.
I just want to say, man, a lot of actors, man, they get a lot of grief online, on Twitter and just going, why did you take that role away from so-and-so? And why did you do, like, it wasn't a like, you know what, you did that and I'm going to usurp your role. It's not. It's, guys, it was a business decision, you know?
Yeah.
Yep.
If you don't take it, somebody else.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like they try to make it seem like that you just stole this from this person.
Kicked him out the house.
Right.
And
right.
Yeah. Now, John, I didn't have a question. I just wanted to piggyback off of what you're saying, because you mentioned that, you know, it's similar to what goes, you mentioned playing ball, and that's exactly what happens sometimes in sports when they trade a favorite player from a team, and it's like, why'd you drop them? And they start giving this grief out, but it is a business at the end of the day, you know, whether it's injuries or whatnot, you know, multiple reasons why moves are made. And I don't think
that's a great analogy.
Yeah. Yep.
It is.
Yep.
It's like, you know, you don't know what's going on in the back office.
No.
You don't know what the decisions are being made.
Correct.
But everyone's, I mean, they're all trying to make money.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
You know, that's a great analogy, man.
Thank
well
you.
Done.
Thank you, sir. Banks?
Yeah,
2 points for me.
No. So, John, I just wanted to ask you, out of all of the projects that you've worked on, what would you say some of your favorite ones are?
Well, definitely right now as a director, Vinland Saga is one of my favorites. I'm so proud of the work we did on that show.
It's getting a lot of praise online too.
Well, thank you. It was a labor of love, and we really busted our butts on it, and I was so glad to work on that. I'm just really grateful for all the work I've been able to do. I mean, All for One is great, and Lord Death is great, and Taker is great, and Crocodile are great. You know, I've got 5 or 6 characters that I'm kind of, I guess, really known for.
Right.
I'm very grateful for that. But I'm grateful for the soldier bees and the worker ones and the just random characters. I've been able to do this. Who are you talking to? I'm doing an interview. Oh, sorry.
Hi.
But I've just been able to, like I said earlier, this has now consumed my life. I've been able to make a living doing this. And I'm just grateful to God. I'm grateful to the fans. I'm grateful to everyone that I'm able to even do this. This is, so actually, I will tell you this too. My favorite role of all time is Kumatetsu from a movie I did called The Boy and the Beast.
Oh, I was going to bring that up because I have that movie on Blu-ray, and
I love that.
Me and my daughters absolutely loved it when it came out. So that's cool that you brought it up.
I love that movie. I will tell you too. My daughter is so awesome. So the other day, or it was actually a couple of years ago, but the other day, say that, I walked into my son's room. He said, "What are you doing?" He goes, "I'm watching anime." And he's watching on his phone. And I go, "Oh, what are you watching?" He goes, "Soul Eater." I said, "Oh, well, I play Lord Death." And he goes, "Yeah, I'm watching the Japanese version."
He's like, "Dad, I already hear you enough at home. I'm not trying to."
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So conversely, when Boy and the Beast came out, I took my family to go see the movie.
Nice.
Because it had a theatrical release.
Yes, it did.
And we went to the movie theater, and there were 20 or 30 people in the crowd. It wasn't a packed house or anything, but it was nice. And as we're leaving, we're all exiting through the back door into the lobby. My daughter looks up to me, and at this time she's 14 now. She was probably 7 or 8. But she's holding my hand, and she looks up to me and she goes, "Daddy, you were so awesome as the voice of the Beast."
Oh.
And everybody around us goes, "What?"
Nani?
Yeah.
And so I spent the next 30 minutes signing autographs.
Nice.
And I was like, I turned to my son and I said, "That's how it's done."
Oh, snap! Yes! Yes!
Got him.
Watching the Japanese version.
Hey, well, to piggyback off of that, I know Dwayne Johnson, he was saying that like whenever, because he played Maui in Moana. Oh. And he sings the song to his daughter, and his daughter's just like, "Daddy, I don't want to hear you sing it." She wants to hear Maui and the movie sing the song, but he's just like, "Honey, that's actually me singing." She don't care about that. She wants to.
Hey, one thing we've noticed: it doesn't matter who you are. To your kids, you're just not that cool, I guess. It don't matter who you are.
Uh-huh. But
every now and then, I'll get a little love. Like,
yeah.
So, Dad, I was at school today, and I mentioned your name, and somebody freaked out, and I said, "Yeah, that's my dad."
Does he use your name to get dates?
No.
That you know of.
I'm sure he could be at a con and be like, "Yeah, that's my dad."
Hey, that's my dad.
Yeah, and the girls at the con will be like, "Oh, snap!" And yeah, and then they were like, "Oh, are you a voice actor too?" Yeah, I'm a voice actor. You just haven't heard of me yet, but yeah,
I play additional roles.
Yeah, I do the addition. I do the Waller part.
Yep.
Well, I will say, my oldest daughter, Olivia, is a voice actor, and she's an actor as well.
Nice.
But she's gotten into the voice acting world, and she's doing very well. She's very new, but she's doing very well, and she's so much more talented than I am. I'm just so proud of her. So proud of her.
Well, shout out to Olivia.
Yeah, shout out to Olivia, and we're gonna reach out to her and we're gonna interview her too, so we can keep it all in the family.
should.
Because up here on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks, I say this all the time. We like Olive Garden. We all family.
I'll tell you a funny story about Olivia. Can I tell you a funny story about Olivia?
Yeah, go ahead.
Most certainly can.
So,
hold on real quick. Is she around right now?
no, she's in her apartment.
Okay, cool. Because if she heard you talking, she'd be like, "Dad, stop." But yeah,
No, she's probably baking somewhere. I don't know. So sorry, can I say that on your podcast?
Yeah, that's cool.
She,
Hey, we knew what you wore, the Deadhead shirt. We knew what this was when you
right,
were up.
yeah.
Okay,
Let's get real, man. Let's get real. You got a Grateful Dead guy here. So when she turned, I'll try to make this quick, but when she turned 21, her mom and I wanted to be the first people to buy her first legal drink.
right.
Now, we knew she drank, and it's college, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she and her boyfriend show up, and her mom and I are at this bar. We've been there since 10:30 at night because we're going to do the drink at midnight.
Mm-hmm.
Like we want to be literally the first legal drink.
Nice.
We're at this bar. I mean, her mom and I are just like, what the F are we doing here? We're falling asleep at the table, she and her boyfriend finally show up. And she's like, I don't know what I want. I don't know. And I'm like, I could tell she doesn't want to, she wants to be grown up. She doesn't want to do like, I'll take a vodka and Diet Coke, like they probably drink at their apartment,
Mm-hmm.
So she's like, I don't know what I want. I said, well, just let the waitress bring you something. She'll bring you a special drink. And I turned to her boyfriend who had just turned 21. I said, and what do you want to drink, Christian? He goes, I'll just have a beer. I said, okay. Well, they've got about 50 beers on tap. What do you want? And he turns to the waitress and he goes, what's your best beer?
Oh.
I was like, dude, did you really just say that? That is such bush league. That's amateur hour. I mean, your best beer? Really? So I said, bring him what I'm drinking. I'm having a Yellow Rose IPA.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So a week later, we're having a party at our house. Some friends are in from out of town. And we're sitting on the back porch and we're having a grand old time. And I tell my daughter, I get on my phone and I'm like, we're running out of whiskey. So I tell my daughter, I text her and I said, hey, because you can, pick me up some Jameson's and Wild Turkey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And I'll pay you. And I'll pay you when you get here. Oh, also, your mom needs limes. She texts back, okay, can do.
Oh, man.
About 30 minutes later, she calls up. She's like, hey, Dad, it's me, Olivia. Listen, I'm at the, no, she goes, I forgot to get the Wild Turkey. I said, oh, well, that's okay. Did you get the Jamesons? And she went, yeah, well, I'm still at the liquor store. I said, well, go ahead and get the Wild Turkey. And she went, oh, God. I can't. I already left the grocery store.
I knew exactly
You
where
thought she was talking about the turkey.
Yeah, she
He
thought
thought
you were
Wild
talking about
Turkey was
turkey.
like a deli meat or something.
You should have sent her on a wild goose chase.
I would have sent her.
Oh, well, you're waiting.
She would have been looking for, I mean, I could have said, I need you to pick up some gray goose. She may have said, I'm looking for your goose, your gray
Can't
goose.
find it. That
Lord.
reminds me of this dad. He had sent his daughter into the advanced auto and told her to go look for blinker fluid.
Mhm.
And she went in there and she was just like, Dad, like they keep on saying that they don't have blinker fluid. And he's just like, yeah, just keep asking them. And then she found out that there's no such thing as blinker fluid. But it's funny when it's like you're a kid and as a parent, you tell your kids to go look for something. And like your daughter, she thought that you were actually talking about a turkey, a wild turkey.
Yeah. It's like she went up to the deli and went, I see you've got oven roasted, smoked. Do you have any wild turkey?
Wow.
Yeah.
But you know, I love that. Just that innocence of, you know, because when they hit 21, man, I don't know how old you guys are, but when kids hit 21, they just have this moment of like, I am now a freaking adult.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you are. You're a freaking stupid adult, is what you are.
Nah, I agree, man. So I wanted to ask you this because I see that you're children's author. You have your own book out called Jungle Bird. That's something that you and Mike Vance have worked on, and
Yes,
you know, pretty much it's to, you know, teach children the love of reading. So, you know, what led to you wanting to create your own children's book?
that's a great question. I'm so glad you asked that. I'm not sure what made me want to create it, but I do know when I started to create it, it was very important for me to create something like a book itself that that wasn't. I mean, we've got it in downloadable versions, and you can hear an audio version and stuff like that. But I really felt that it was important for a child to hold a book, to physically hold a book.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just such a base, fundamental thing. But that was what was important to me. And so we did that and we created it, and I'm very proud of it. It turned out beautifully. It's been a labor of love. We've got another book in the works. I haven't been able to devote as much time as I'd like to market it and stuff like that, but it's still just a labor of love. And I'm, you know, there's nothing, I mean, you guys are all young and I don't know if you have families, but, you know, there's nothing to replace having a child sit in your lap with a book and read the book to them, and let them experience the physicalness of the book, the pages, you know, sometimes they rip them, you know, but just to experience those physiological realities that are, you know, touching the book and opening and stuff like that, you know. You know, we live in a world, man, that is growing so fast and rolling over on itself with technology. And it was just important to me to create something that is kind of going back the other way.
Yeah.
Here's a book, read a book, you know, learn from a book. You can do the other things, that's great, but don't forget the book. You know, and so that's why I created that, and that's why I did that.
I like that you said that, you know, about actually having the book in your hand. I mean, because it's like, you know, we do live in this digital age where you can read whatever you want to read on your phone, but just the magic of being a kid and actually holding a book and looking at the pictures in the book. And I remember being a kid and like seeing like cool pictures in books and taking a piece of tracing paper and then you know, tracing over the characters in the book and whatnot. And, you know, I love that you said that, like just the joy of actually like holding that book in your hand.
Well, and in our book too, we've got a nice page. There's one page where you can draw your own stories.
Nice.
I like that.
That's awesome.
And there's word puzzles and things like that. So, you know, it's just, and you know, I'm a little bit ashamed to say that I haven't been able to devote as much time to this as I wanted. But you know what? At the end of the day, I'm like, look, we got the book. It's out there. And we're going to do another one. And if it takes another 10 years for it to be popular, I don't care. I love doing it. I think it's important, and that won't change. So I'm very, very proud of that. And I really appreciate you all bringing it up. That's very nice of you.
Hey,
you're welcome.
What do we do
our
next? Tell 'em.
here.
Yeah, that's right. We do our
research, and everybody that we bring up here, it's just like they're always surprised. Like when we bring up something, and be like, "Wow!" Like it's like they didn't just bring me up here to talk about anime. So yeah, that's what we do.
So, all right. So your research. Let me ask you this: that I don't know. I guess you got a screen behind you that's flapping images of my character.
Images.
Yeah, the slideshow.
Do you know where the hat comes from? The one with the hat.
No, I saw that image online and I thought it was cool, but you could tell us the story about it.
It's one of my favorite pictures of all. It came from when my wife and I went to England, and we were in York. And in York, there's a town or an area called the what's it called? Hang on one second. Dina!
Yes!
Phone a friend?
I gotta go.
Using the lifeline.
Use the lifeline.
Hey, Dina? What is the place in York called? The place in York with all the...
Oh, Lord.
The shambles.
The shambles.
Nice.
I like this name too.
It's called the Shambles, and it is it's an old street. And all the buildings, they almost at the top, they it's like there's a street, and then the buildings come in closer and closer as you go up. And at the top, they almost touch each other.
Wow.
But it's a throwback to the, Elizabethan area. Anyway.
Pretty awesome.
I was in a shop in the Shambles and I put that hat on. And I thought it looked funny.
Now, why is it called the Shambles?
I have no idea.
Okay. I'm just saying it's a cool name. I feel like it has to have some sort of story behind it.
Well, I'm sure it does. I have no idea what that story is. So.
I thought you were about to get up and go ask your wife again. Like, hey, honey, do you know why it's called the Shambles?
Why it's called the Shambles?
I don't think she knows. She's an Anglophile, but I don't think she knows that.
Right.
So, John, I wanted to ask you, whenever you're not behind the mic or doing stuff with the cons and everything, like, what are some of your hobbies that you're into?
Well, I like to play guitar.
Hell yeah.
Hey.
Nice.
I like to play guitar.
Right.
Okay.
I really don't have a whole lot of hobbies, man. I mean, I got to be honest with you. I'm so daggone busy. I never have a time to do anything.
Well, that's an awesome hobby for one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one.
What, playing the guitar or being busy?
Both.
I like that.
Being busy is a trick to saving you money.
That is true. Not all the time, though.
You see, this man had to somehow weasel his way into his slideshow. Did you see this?
Yep.
Oh, you saw the picture?
Of course, this
put it up
guy.
there.
Of course.
Like, what? Hey, if you guys were at the con, y'all could have been in the picture too. That's all I'm saying.
I don't want to be in your picture. First off, I'm good.
Hey, I mean, I got video.
You know what I'm saying, Trav?
Yeah, we don't want to be in your picture. We want our own picture.
Well, y'all could have. If y'all would have came to the con, then y'all could have got a picture.
Where
were y'all at?
That was a great show.
Mm-hmm.
That show in West Virginia was a great show.
Well, this one was in Virginia.
Are you talking about Superstar Anime, John?
In Virginia Beach?
Yeah, Virginia. Yeah, that
Beach.
was just Virginia. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great show.
Yeah, I had a fun time. That was my first con in Virginia since the pandemic. I know we me and D, we ended up going to Greenville, North Carolina to a con that they had there, which was awesome. And but no, yeah, the Superstar anime, like that was a fun con. Like I had a fun time there, taking pictures of everybody in cosplay and putting them on our page and whatnot, and then meeting you and meeting Ian Sinclair, who I'm still trying to get up here on the podcast because he said he was down to come on too, and I'm hoping that we can get him up here soon as well.
I got one random question before D takes it away and wraps this thing up. How do we feel about Dead and Company versus Grateful Dead? I'm assuming you've seen them live with John Mayer. I'm a huge John Mayer fan. You know, they just wrapped up their new Dead and Company tour.
No, they haven't.
Oh, it's not over yet.
Oh no! In fact, I'm going to go see them in October.
There we go. How do you feel about John? You know, playing lead on that.
I think John Mayer is fantastic. I love John Mayer.
Fantastic.
Dead and Company is amazing. The Grateful Dead were amazing. Dead and Company are amazing. One of the great things about the Grateful Dead is if you really get into it, is how many things have been offshoots of the Grateful Dead. One of the most amazing bands I've ever seen is a band called Joe Russo's Almost Dead. They interpret Grateful Dead songs like nobody I've ever seen. It is unbelievably good. But I love Dead and Company. As a matter of fact, I went to go see, I was on my way. Okay. Settle in, folks. There's a bit of a story.
Hey, I
was doing a family vacation in the Northeast in Massachusetts. And this is in 2015, I can't remember. But anyway, I got invited to a convention in Chicago. And we were up in Boston. Well, I left my family. It was a 2-week vacation. I left my family mid vacation. I said, I'm going to go do this convention in Chicago. You stay with our friends here in the Boston area, or the Massachusetts area, and I'll be back. And so I flew from Hartford, Connecticut to Chicago. While I was at the airport in Hartford waiting for my flight, I get a text going, hey, I've got one extra ticket to the Fare Thee Well show at Soldier Field for the Grateful Dead.
Wow.
Who's going to be there? And of course, I immediately text back, I'm going to be there. I will take it. So I get to Chicago and I tell the convention, hey, I know I'm here for you guys, but I need you to cancel everything from 5 o'clock on Friday on, because I'm not going to be here. I'm going down to Soldier Field. And they said, okay, not a problem. We'll reschedule it for the next day. And I went down and I did the Dead show. So that was great. Awesome. So then the Grateful Dead says, we're no longer the Grateful Dead, but now we're going to tour as Dead and Company with John Mayer and Teal Burbidge and Jeff Clementi. And my best friend in the world, Kim Stoner was his name.
What a great name to have.
Oh yeah, great name. and the best guy ever. He could not make it up to the Chicago show. So his wife says, well, I'm going to buy you tickets to go see Dead and Company, you know, and you and I are going to go see Dead and Company in Alpine Valley in Wisconsin the next year. So the next year rolls around and I'm actually sitting on the toilet and my phone rings. And I'm like, hello? And it's my friend Kim. And he goes, "Hey, buddy, what you doing?" I go, "Well, you don't want to know that, but what's going on?" He goes, "Well, listen, I'm calling," and I went, "Oh, hey, how did your trip to Dead and Company? Did you enjoy it?" And he went, "Well, that's why I'm calling you." I said, "Okay, what's up?" He goes, "Well, it's this coming weekend." This is on a Monday. He goes, "It's this coming weekend, and Tracy, his wife, can't make it. So I need you to get on a plane and get up to Wisconsin." And he lived in Florida.
Wow.
Like, we're going to meet in Wisconsin. We're going to go to the shows. And I was like, "Dude, you picked the worst weekend ever. I've got plans with my family. I've got, you know." And he goes, "We'll break them." I said,
He said break them.
"You know my wife, you know what this entails." And he goes, "Yeah, I do. Break it." So anyway, that day I tell my wife, I said, "Look, here's the situation. I know we've got plans with our family in Dallas, or our friends in Dallas, but this has come up." And she goes, "Well, what are you going to do?" And I said, "Well, I'd really like to go to the Dead and Company shows." And she's like, "You're going to go? You're looking for a better thing, aren't you?" And I said, "Yes, that's exactly what I'm doing. Looking for a better deal." And she said, "Well, you got to call our friends and you got to tell them what's going on." I said, "Fine." And I called them, and it was a very unpleasant conversation. And I had to say, "Guys, I've got this opportunity and I'm going to do it." So I did it. And I flew up because he had a plane ticket, he had concert tickets, he had everything. Hotel. Yeah. Actually, it wasn't even a hotel, it was a bed and breakfast. So we get up there, we have the absolute best time ever. It was so amazing. And we had seen many Dead shows together. Mm-hmm. And this was recreating that. I mean, we met people, we hung out with people. It was just an amazing experience. And I got home and my wife was pissed.
I think she would be.
And I just said, "Well, I'm sorry," because I had an amazing time. And then a year later, my friend, Kim, who I went with, was dead from cancer.
Oh, wow. I didn't see this ending coming.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming either.
And I will tell you that my wife said to me, she said, "I'm so sorry I ever challenged you on that.
You won one.
You know, guys, this is our only life. Mm-hmm. This is it. Take every opportunity you can." Absolutely every opportunity you can, because you just don't know. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to end on such a downer note, but it's not a downer note. It's an upper note.
Right.
Take those opportunities, brother. Take them. When they present themselves, take them. No one is ever going to say, "Well, at least he didn't do those stupid things."
Right. Yeah.
Do the stupid things. Do them all. Anyway.
Solid advice.
So all of that is to say, I love John Mayer with Dead and Company. I will say this. They do play things a lot slower.
Right.
And that is a little... Okay. We're going to take 5 minutes to play. Well, in the Grateful Dead, it's like
I was going to say like 15 minutes
to play a 15-minute song. It's a lot slower, but you know what? It's all good. because at the end of the day, it's about the music, but it's also about the whole scene.
The vibe.
And that's what I love.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that goes back to what I was saying about comparing Grateful Dead shows to anime conventions. It's about the scene, and everyone there is there to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a little slower. So what? Just enjoy it. Have fun.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
For
Yeah,
sure.
no, I think that those are wise words to live by. It's just like, you should always take your chances and just have a good old time, because like you said, it's like you only
Good
live
old
once
time.
and you never know what you're going to miss out on if you don't take that shot. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. That's right. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So D, the floor is yours. I'm passing the ball to you.
I'm here.
It's time to ask your famous question.
Now, I do want to add one small one on top. I don't want to go off too far. But I wanted to get your opinion. I just started listening to a new old band this year, and that is Iron Maiden. I wanted to get your opinion on them and them not being in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Correct, Trav? They are not inducted. Isn't that correct?
They got slighted this year.
John, what are your thoughts on Iron Maiden?
I am not a big heavy metal guy.
Mm-hmm.
I think Iron Maiden deserves a spot in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll get there.
Absolutely.
I did not know they had as many albums as they had.
Yeah, they just dropped a new one.
Yep. Yeah, I know. And it's sweet.
Yeah, it's fire.
And another one. So it's just interesting.
It's one of those things too. It's like, it's funny to me, like listening to Houston radio,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, it's classic rock, and you're like listening to things, and like when classic rock started, it was all about the 60s and 70s.
Right.
Now I'm hearing stuff from the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, but technically, it's classic rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is very weird.
And when you look at a band like Iron Maiden, I was never a big Iron Maiden fan,
Mm-hmm.
but they've been playing for like 40 years.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
I mean,
that's stuck out.
that's not something that's,
Not
to
easy
be
do.
taken lightly.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, and Bruce Dickerson's one of the greatest to ever live.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting, and we had talked and dabbled about your favorite band of all time, so I figured I would slide that in there. But I do want to give you my favorite two questions.
All right, lay them on me.
All right, the first question is: growing up, did you have a favorite 80s or 90s movie, or in your case, 70s or 80s?
Dang, D, aging the man.
But easy.
Yeah, that's easy. That's easy.
Okay.
I can tell you my two favorite movies of all time:
Go for it.
Jaws,
Nice.
Classic. Go.
Apocalypse Now.
Dude, and they both still hold up to this day.
Fire.
Look at Banks over there. He don't even know what Apocalypse Now is.
No, I've been told about it, but yeah, I've never seen it though.
Now,
Oh,
John,
I know it's a part
dude,
of
God, really? You shouldn't even be on this podcast anymore.
That's right. You got John mad now.
woo, what a good night. Now, John, the second question, this may be the same answer, but growing up, did you have a movie, commercial, TV show that kind of scared you and stuck with you
Jaws.
growing up?
John, yeah, that's what he's
Jaws,
saying.
yeah. it was
Absolutely. Yeah, it may be the same answer. Great answer.
Yeah.
Shout out to John Williams, greatest
Yes,
composer
sir.
ever.
Hey,
Greatest
man,
composer ever.
hell of a movie.
Mm-hmm.
I
I
mean-
said like the next shark movie that scared me, like Jaws, was Deep Blue Sea, especially when the shark came up and got Samuel L. Jackson when he gave that speech.
It's just, I don't think it carried,
No.
Jaws was, he was out there eating kids,
Yeah.
man. Yeah.
Now,
It definitely made you
love
afraid to go to the
sharks.
beach.
I love sharks. I love
Yes.
Deep Blue Sea. I think it's a great movie. It's a lot of CG, and it's
Correct.
like, okay, really, the shark jumps in.
Jaws was
and
like,
just eats him right there.
Yeah,
I mean,
that was
it's
scary
like-
as a kid.
yeah,
Wow. Okay, really?
yeah.
But dude, you know, one of the reasons that Jaws was so good is because they didn't show the shark for the first 40 minutes.
Right. Yep.
Right. Mm-hmm.
The build up.
They also
you're just like, what's going on here?
Too.
Yeah. What's going on?
And you think about it, when you're in the ocean, I don't care where you are, if you're in the Caribbean or whatever, people's fear about the ocean is, I don't know what's swimming around below me.
Exactly.
And yeah, I mean, Jaws is far and away my favorite movie. It's also got one of my, but Apocalypse Now and Jaws are my two favorite movies, but I can't tell you which is number one.
Right.
It's all
they have, and then after that, I would tell you my number 3 movie is No Country for Old Men.
Oh, such a great film.
Yes, another one.
Hey,
and then after that, I'm not even sure I can say this. In my top 5 is Team America.
Oh, I love Team America. Throwback.
Yeah, that is a throwback.
No, I was going to say the Coen brothers have a new one coming out. The Fall of Macbeth with Denzel Washington coming out in December.
Well, and I heard that Trey Parker and Matt Stone are going to do another puppet movie.
Right.
Yeah, it's been a minute. What Team America came out?
That was a hell of a long
2001.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I've never laughed in life.
What a movie!
Well,
Hilarious.
John, I mean, you've given us your top 4. What's number 5? You got to finish it out.
Here we go. Bag of Tricks.
Blazing Saddles.
Oh, okay.
That's a classic comedy. Classic.
That is the classic. Old Mel Brooks. I feel like when it comes to Mel Brooks movies, it's like everybody has a favorite that they can pick from. Like mine will always be Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Well, I was gonna say Mel Brooks is remaking Blazing Saddles, but an animation version.
Oh, okay, yeah,
we talked about it the other day.
I did hear about that.
You know, I think to me one of the things about Blazing Saddles that I love is that, you know, people are like, I mean, I love Holy Grail. Monty Python I love. But one of the things about Blazing Saddles that I love is that people are like, oh, you could never make that movie today. And, you know, anybody that watches Blazing Saddles and thinks, oh, you can't, how could you say that? The sheriff is a, you know.
Yeah.
Do you not understand the satire involved here?
Yeah.
These are people that absolutely respected and loved all races. They are making fun of the stupidity of America.
Yeah, especially in Hollywood.
Yes, exactly. And it's so frustrating to me that you're like, well, you could never make a movie like that. It's like, come on,
everybody's too sensitive now.
I was gonna say Gene
Wilder
did
think about The Office. Like they're like,
oh yeah.
Yeah, like I think Steve Carell was like, The Office wouldn't be able to work in today's world because it would have been canceled after the first episode.
Right. And it's just so frustrating to me that the people can't, I don't know. It's just, I mean, I'm a white dude, right? I'm the most privileged person on the face of the fucking earth. But I'm like, no, do you not really understand that there's satire here and there's, you know, we respect these people. We respect anybody. We respect everybody. And we're making fun of ourselves and we're making fun of, you know, the stupidity that we are. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. That's how it goes.
It's like, come on now.
But people don't.
Well, you got to wait. We're going to have to
cancel
wait.
You. They'll cancel
you're going to have to wait about 10, 15 years for people to stop being so sensitive. It's like they're partly ruining like people with comedic senses in general.
Yeah.
And it's sad to see. Like we're lucky we got Dave Chappelle.
That's what I was about to say.
We beat the curve with that show.
Hey,
and that's hilarious.
They still trying to cancel them though.
I believe it. I mean, it's just, you know, if you don't like what somebody's, you know, if you don't like what a comedian's style, then don't watch them. Don't listen to them. You know what I mean?
Dude, Dave Chappelle should run for fucking president.
Hilarious.
I would vote for him in a heartbeat. That guy has got such a handle on the pulse of everything.
Dude, he at this point he's not even doing stand up. He's just preaching.
He's just telling stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just so happens to be funny as he's telling it.
Mm-hmm. John, thank you so much for joining us up here on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. It was truly an honor to talk with you and listen to your stories and hear some solid advice. So before we let you go, let everybody in social media land know where they can find you at.
Right here in my chair.
Nice. I love that answer.
Playing the guitar.
That's right.
Guitar.
Find me at on social media. I'm terrible with social media, so but at Swap Monster on Twitter, John Swasey or the Voices of John Swasey on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
I think John Swasey or something. What's the other one?
Instagram.
Thank you. That's how bad I am.
Me a coat.
Right. Tell them about the
Okay.
TikTok.
You know what?
Tell them about the
That's
MySpace.
I don't really care. What I really want people to do is go to jungleberg.com and buy a book.
That's
Buy a
right.
book. Show
There
some
you go.
support.
Right. And check out John's TikTok where he's doing all the latest dances.
Oh, and one other thing too, plug the voiceover classes too.
Well, it's funny. I'm not really doing voiceover classes anymore. I don't have time. I'm getting people that call me.
Should have done your research, Banks.
I'm so daggum busy. I don't have time.
That's -2 for Banks, by the way.
Nah, I've been winning all night.
Trav's leading right now. I hate to say it.
Oh God, hey, at least you give the man some props. I'll give it to you tonight. But yeah, John, again, thank you so much for joining us up here.
The
We
OG
really
old
appreciate
go.
you. And D, let everybody in social media land know where they can find you at.
You can find me at rebellious_D23 Instagram.com. And thank you everybody for watching the video, and tuning in as always. Thank you everybody. Trav.
Hey, John, I just want to thank you for the stories. I'm glad we got to talk about a little bit of music. We talked about books. We talked
that
about
movie pick too. That Jaws.
We talked about Jaws. And of course, you can find me on the Instagram at ZK Audio. Then you can find me on the Twitter at TRAVIOSZK. And I'm also on Letterboxd, Mr. Benjamin Banks, where they going to find podcast #1 hero at Good Sir.
You can find me at Hero Benjamin Banks at KingBenji_Banks on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me on Facebook at Benjamin Banks. I should be the first person to pop up. If not, then I need to contact Mr. Zuckerberg. Thank you again, John, for joining us on this interview. Everybody, make sure you check out some more of our interviews that we have here on the channel, along with reviews and reaction videos, podcasts with brand new episodes every Tuesday. And this episode will be on YouTube that Friday, along with all of our other interviews that we have on our podcast. So like I always say, keep that pinky up, stay positive. We'll see you next time on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Peace.
Cheers.
Thanks again, everybody, for watching another episode of Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe to the channel. Podcast, we got that too. Make sure you give us a thumbs up and hit that bell for further episodes and notifications. Thanks a lot to our patrons. And if you don't mind, join the Patreon. We'll be having new specials coming up soon.